Hi everyone, I'm John, and the first thing I want to say is I want to wish everyone the best for this up and coming new year. Hope the new year works out for you. Hope this year is a good one for everyone. And I hope you enjoy learning new stuff on your didge and playing, performing, or whatever it is really. Anyway, I thought what I'd do today was I'd cover something on some tips about sort of keeping your didge clean, sort of, looking after your didge really, and a few tips about repairs, if you have any issues with any of them. So how to keep it clean and how to repair it really. So where do we start? Right, cleaning first. I think, this will apply to any didge you've got really, regardless of what it's made of, is you need to keep the inside of it clean. And it's like hygiene, we keep our teeth, mouth nice and fresh and clean by brushing our teeth, etc. And we need to keep the inside of the stick clean too, to just keep it nice and fresh really. So what I tend to do, what I always do really, is after a certain period of time, I will wash it through in the shower. So I'll get my didge up. This is one of my didges. So what I'll do with this, on the end here, I'll unscrew the shower head. This is I find this works really well. I'll turn the shower on, the shower unit in the bath there, and I'll put the end of it down inside, and I get the water a bit warm first, or you could put it just straight in and then turn it on. It doesn't matter, as long as it's not too hot. Test the water. You don't want it too hot. I just have it lukewarm, warmish, and let the shower head do its thing. Turn it on and let it run through the didgeridoo, and then if there's any dirt or any dust collected on the inside, you'll see it come out. I just leave it in there for a couple of minutes, or probably leave it in there for, I probably leave it in there for about, 30 or 40 seconds, up to a minute, maybe a minute. And then I'll let it flush through, and then I'll take the shower head out for a bit, and then I'll put it back in again, give it another run through. I do, if there's anything in there, I might do 2 or 3 runs of it through one didgeridoo. So that's one thing to do. Now, your didgeridoo, I'll come to how it's sealed on the inside as well in a minute, but that's how I tend to clean it. Now, what I also do is, while I'm doing that process, I'll show you, I also use this pipe cleaner. So when I've run it through the shower, maybe I've run it through a couple of times, I'll then run this up and down right inside. It's just a sort of a pipe brush cleaner really. So I just run that up and down inside all the way through, and then I'll run it through again the shower head to clean anything else out finally. So that's what I use, and tends to work pretty well, and it cleans it out nicely. Now, finally, what I do is I'll get some essential oil like this. Now, I have used tea tree oil. It's kind of like an anti-bacterial. Tea tree oil is quite cleaning. It's got a nice. You can cleanse your didge with it, but I've also switched to eucalyptus. I've got some eucalyptus essential oil, and that's quite nice, because particularly if you've got a wooden stick, and if you've got a eucalyptus didge, it's quite nice to use eucalyptus. It's quite a nice smell as well, and that'll really freshen it up. So what I do is I'll add a couple of drops, two or maybe 3 drops to a little bottle of water, and I'll pour that bottle of water through a couple of times after from showering, and I'll leave that then to dry. And then you get a nice fresh smell. I mean, if you need to rinse it through a few times, particularly if you've got an old stick and you haven't used it for a while, you need to really rinse it through, clean it out. Might have to do it a few times. And then if you put this in, this will help freshen it all up. It's quite nice, really. So that's what I do with the cleaning. Obviously on the outside, it's just a matter of wiping it down, keeping it clean. And I don't tend to wash the outside. You know, it's mainly an inside thing, really, because as I say, it's kind of a hygiene thing to keep it clean. And the time wise, well, I don't know, maybe every 2 or 3 months, couple of months or something. And it just keeps it nice. And that's it, really. And it depends how much you use it, really. You just got to go by how much you feel you want to do it, you know. And you'll know if you've been playing it a lot, you'll kind of know whether you need to clean it more often or not, really. So, but anyway, or I'll clean it more if I've been playing a lot out live. Then I might do it much more. You know, it really depends. So, play that one by ear. Anyway, so that's cleaning the inside. Now, as I said, it could be a plastic didge, it could be fiberglass, carbon fiber, it could be wood. They all need to be cleaned, because when you play on it for a while, you know, and when you've been playing, you know, the moisture can sort of, you don't want sort of anything nasty inside. You want to keep it really clean, and that'll keep it clean by doing that on a regular basis, basically. So the other thing to think about when you're cleaning is what stick are you cleaning. A lot of didgeridoos, this one included, this one I made, I've sealed it inside, so it's quite easy to put warm water through it and wash it. It's not going to be an issue because it's sealed on the inside. Some people seal it with an oil, some people seal it with a varnish, resin or something. And on the other hand, it might be a darkie, it might be not sealed. And so you need to take a little bit of care if it's not sealed. Even on my Yadaki's, the traditional sticks, which aren't sealed, ones I've got, I'll still wash it through, but I'm just, you know, a little bit careful. I'm not going to put a load of hot water through it. Just going to rinse it through, get it clean, and hopefully when it dries out, it should be all right. And now some people might seal their Yadaki's, but I rather not, because it alters the sound. And it'll make it more reflective, and the beauty of not sealing it is the sound gives you the depth without the reflective. Because if you've got it sealed, what it does is when you're playing, the sound as it's traveling down inside the stick, creating this sound wave, standing wave inside, what happens is the inside, if it's shiny inside and it's hard, it's going to reflect the sound and make it more trebly sounding, brighter, basically. And what that does is you then lose some of the depth of the sound. And that's why if you're using a wood stick in particular, because it's wood really, that and Yadaki's that can sound really nice if they're not sealed, then, you know, that's why I don't, you know, I wouldn't seal in on my Yadaki's at all. You just have to keep on top of it, look after them. If there's any, you might get some movement in time because of the wood and because the inside's not sealed. You just have to be careful and look after it. And you know, if you have to repair it every now and then, I'll be coming to that anyway. So anyway, yeah. So on a sealed stick, it's quite easy. You can wash it through. On a Yadaki or an unsealed stick, I still wash it through. But it's up to you, you know. At the end of the day, what you do. I've never had any problems doing that. You know, if you're going to go out and take it out in all weathers and it's unsealed, then of course, and you've got weather changes and temperature changes, then of course, you know, you might have an issue with it. So, and this is the other thing. So that's cleaning. And the other thing to take note of is if you're playing your didge in different environments, let's just say you're playing it in the home, it's got a certain humidity, a certain heat and temperature at home, and then your didge settles into that. So if you take it out, let's just say it's winter, the wood is going to feel that change in temperature. Now, if it's a solid stick, it shouldn't be an issue. I mean, I take mine all over the place. However, if I've got a yadaki or if I've got a eucalyptus and it's unsealed, then I'm just a bit more careful, you know. I did have one didge. I was at a didge festival once. The bottom of it just split open, like about 1.5 foot. The whole bottom end split right open, and I had to do immediate repairs. Well, I didn't repair it there and then. I just made sure I strapped it back together. That's really important if you've got a wooden stick that comes apart. So that's the thing. So be careful when you're moving it into different temperatures and different climates and different environments. You know, I think particularly if you're busking, if you want to take it out busking, try and avoid if it's a wooden stick, try and avoid it getting it in the hot sun. You know, if possible, sit in a shady area. That will help, because the sun on your stick, the wood and the heat and the temperature will there might be some movement in there. It depends how solid your stick is. You know, this is what it comes down to. It's hard to know, but anyway, that's just something to keep in mind. So temperature, moisture and stuff, you know, moisture getting into your stick. So that's one thing. So what about repairing? So I think, also, yeah, what about also the mouthpiece? This is like solid wood. So it's kind of like, well, the mouthpiece and everything's all the same. I've got to worry about it. But if you've got wax mouthpiece, then when I like wax mouthpiece. The reason I don't use wax is because if I'm playing for a long time, the wax gets sticky and it just doesn't work. You know, if you're doing a performance or if you're playing, after a certain amount of time, for me, it gets sticky. Other people might find that fine. So if you're using wax, one thing you can do is it can get a little bit grubby, wax. So, you know, after a certain period of time, and it starts to get, you can see it's starting to change colour a little bit, get a little bit grubby. What I used to do is get a sharp knife, and scrape the outside and clean it up again. And if need be, somehow in the inside, you know, it depends how easy it is to do that. But, you know, when you're cleaning the inside of it with the shower, you know, you're cleaning the whole lot anyway. So that's one thing. But when it comes to wax, you know, I used to scrape off the outside, and then in time, if I needed to, I'd just redip it. I'm not going to go into how to do wax, you know, on your digital mouthpiece, but I used to redip it into the wax, and, you know, it'd be like brand new again, really. But anyway, if you're not using, or milliput, you can just clean that anyway. That's easy to clean. So that's on the cleaning front. Now, what about repairs? So let's just say, what did I do when the bottom end, I had a stick. It wasn't this one, but from here to say here, the whole thing just split right open, and it came open by about a couple of inches. You know, it was wanting to go, it was wanting to move a lot, you know, and I thought, right, quickly, what I did, put that back down. What I did, I got, I had a couple of clamps with me, so I just clamped it back together. Now, there's a couple of choices you got there. If the end of the stick splits on you, you know, you can repair it. Don't throw it away. It's quite easy to repair. You can get a couple of clamps, just clamp it back together, or you can. Another method would be to use, I'll get the stick out again. Another method is, now I'd often used to use this when making sticks. I'd put the rope round and bind it together, and then use a tourniquet rod, loop that in between, twist it right round, keep twisting it and bind it together. So you can do that with the repair. The good thing about that method is that because it's going all the way round, it's not, if you use clamps, sometimes it can push in and the edges might splay out a bit depending how thin the stick is, the thickness. But this method, it will keep it much easier, bind all the way round and sort of put it back together, and it's you know, its kind of original shape really. So that works really quite well. So you just twist the metal rod round, whichever metal rods you got, or plastic rods, whatever they are, as long as they're strong enough, until it pulls in. And then if you're at a festival, say, you can then take it home and repair it properly at home. But the main thing is, if you're away, is to bind it, get it pulled in straight away, because otherwise, once the wood starts moving apart, the whole thing might go, and you've got to get it in quick, and it'll also keep that pressure on the wood to stay in its position, if that makes sense. That's really quite useful. And then when you get home, all you've got to do is reglue it if you've got good enough glue. And, you know, I used glue on that. I pulled it back in. I left it glued. Normally, if I leave something glued, I'll leave it glued for a few days. And I tend to use this glue, and I use this for a particular reason. It's PVA glue. I use a PVA glue. I use this particular one because I've actually found, you know, I've tried other glues and I just find this just slightly better. So it's the Evo Stick. It's an exterior version of the glue, weatherproof, and it works really well. So basically, I pull it in, bind it with a tourniquet with the rope and that, because I'll do it properly then like that. Some people use circlips all the way around. You could do that if you want to. It doesn't matter what you use. This is the method I've used, and it worked really well, and it's quick as well. Once you've got the tourniquet, once you've got the pole turned, you know, you need to keep it there. So I used to just wrap a piece of kind of hook a bit of wire around to keep it in its position on each one. So 2 or 3 of those, and then that, you know, with the glue on it for a few days. Don't take it off until a few days, and then it's done. You can, you know, some people, you could use joiner's glue like Cascamite, you know, but that goes really hard. And the reason I won't use that, or even a resin glue, the reason I won't use that, I mean, although resin glues are really hard and tough and they do work well, but the reason I like to use this is because there's a bit of flexibility, even though it dries hard, there's a bit of flexibility left in it. And I've never found any fail on me after using it. So it's worked in my situation, certainly as a didge maker and repairer. That's that. Now, in another instance, let's just say you've got a little hairline crack. I know people have asked this before, what to do about a hairline crack. I mean, some people use super glue and stuff. Now, I prefer not to use super glue. I prefer not to use a glue that's going to go really hard, you know, like glass hard. And that's why I'll use this again. And if I've got a hairline crack, what I'll do is I'll put it in a little dish. I'll dilute it with just a small amount of water. So I've still got a little bit of the glue there. You know, I don't want it too watery. It'll dilute it, stir it round, watered down, because this will water down nicely. Yeah, this glue will water down quite easily as a PVA glue. Stir it round, and then I'll get a cocktail stick or something. You could use something else to drip it in, and I just get the stick down the hairline crack, and with little blobs of glue, and it just seeps in all the way down. You could use a squeezer to squeeze it out if you wanted to. You know, I found that works quite well. And then you can go again, depending how wide the crack. If it's bigger than a hairline crack, you don't want to be doing that. You know, you just use. I would still use, if it's a wider crack, let's just say 1 millimeter or 2 millimeters. I would then use this glue without it being diluted. And if it's it depends on the size. If it's bigger, I then tend to mix this with sawdust. And normally, if I've been working on a stick and I've got sawdust from that stick, then it'll kind of almost match the color with this blended in with it, and that works really well, and it goes solid, but it's still got that flexibility because it's the PVA style of glue I'm using. So that can work really well. And that's really repairs. So, and then if you've got small hairline repairs, you can just dilute this glue, put it down the hairline glue and go over it until it's done enough, you know, until it's sort of sealed it. And just practice with the dilution. Don't dilute it too much. You want it to seep in, but you don't want it to be too watery, you know, so try and get the balance right there. What else is there to say? So that's repairs, cleaning. Anything else? I don't think so. Oh yes, here we go. Another one. I always leave my sticks. All my sticks, I don't close the ends on them. I leave them open. So if if they're at home standing, I won't stand it up straight like that with the bottom sealed. I'll leave it open, so it's at an angle against the wall if I'm storing it that way, so that the air can flow in and out of it. Because, as you know, if things are sealed up and there's no airflow, things stagnate. So if you've got airflow, particularly if let's just say I've been playing a performance or I've been playing an open mic or something, and the inside will be wet. Yes, it has to go in the bag wet. You know, it tends to go in the bag wet. So the first thing I'll do when I get home is take it out of the bag, get it out into the open and get the air to it so that it dries. Really important that, to get the air flowing through it. Because otherwise, if you've got moisture in the stick and you've left it inside your bag, and it will dry a bit because the bags aren't going to be totally sealed, but there's less airflow, and over time, if you keep doing it, you can end up, you don't want a mouldy didge, because the damp inside, if there's no airflow, as you know, in a house on walls, there's no airflow, you get damp and mold, and that's what happens. So there we go. Keep it open to the air when you're at home, and it doesn't matter when you're traveling around. You've got it in a bag, you know. That's fine, obviously. Anything else to say? I don't think so. I think that's about it. I'll probably finish this and think, oh, I missed something out, but I'm not going to be putting out anything else up on the screen. Let me just think. Anything else to say? No, I think that's about it. You've just got to. One last thing. Come back to your darkies. Traditional sticks. I know some people are concerned, and about moisture. And I know if you live in the West here and you've bought an expensive one, a tendency is to seal it, but I wouldn't. I would never seal one because it will change the sound. And so the more you can learn to if you do get any problems, repair it, then you should keep an unsealed stick going for just as long as a sealed stick. It just means you've got to keep on top of it if there's any issues with it. And if you learn to do it yourself, that's it. It's no issue. You can sort it. Anyway, I think that's about it. Again, I'd just like to say, hope this year brings good things for you. And I will be doing some more videos. I've had a little break myself because I had a tooth out before Christmas, and unfortunately I ended up with what's called dry socket, which just takes ages to heal, so I haven't been able to play. I'm literally just starting again now, just experimented yesterday. I thought, get back onto it. It's nice to get back onto it, and be looking forward to doing a few more tutorials, a bit more playing, and hopefully I've got some recordings coming up at some stage. So yeah, that'll be something to look forward to. Anyway, that's it for today.